Ever wondered if you can transform your mind and maybe even gain superpowers in your sleep? This practice of psychic sleep is one that you can begin today that will help you to transform your mind and your mindset to reach new goals, to reach new dreams, manifest new life experiences. It can help even alter your relationship to physical pain for people who are healing physically, and it blends well with other practices that I talk about here on Higher Alignment, like dream work and lucid dreaming, shamatha, or mindfulness meditation, and you can easily bring it into your self-care practice. Yoga Nidra is a meditative practice, also called psychic sleep or yogic sleep. It involves maintaining conscious awareness into the stage between waking and sleeping. You're consciously descending through the brainwave states, relaxing the body in various ways, but you're not losing consciousness. And this deepest state is where the body typically goes to heal, such as where you sleep but have dreamless sleep, or when someone is in a coma, or when the body is placed under anesthesia. So if we think about the word yoga nidra, nidra is the Sanskrit word for sleep. And yoga, you hear this word in many practices. Yoga, this comes from the word yog, meaning to stretch or to yoke. So what are we doing? We're stretching our waking consciousness into a state where it typically wouldn't be. If you begin to make this practice a habit for you at the more advanced stages, you can really, induce a very, what you could call an altered state of consciousness. It's very relaxing and very healing. Let's talk about the steps, and I will guide you through them so that you can get a basic how-to as well as an overview. I'm going to review all of the steps in a typical practice, or how I would set up a typical practice, but there are times when you may not have time for all of that. So you will find ways to shorten or condense your practices. If you are practicing here on Higher Alignment, there are guided videos, there are short ones, there are long ones, but let's talk about the different steps. Yoga Nidra involves laying still for, the period that you're practicing. So before you actually get into your position that you're going to lay in, you may want to do some physical movement. So just 5-10 minutes of just light yoga or stretching, or, some sort of activity that is still relaxing and calming, but is going to have some physical movement. Your second step is going to be getting in your supported position. So this is going to basically be the Shavasana pose. So you're lying on your back with your hands kind of a little bit away from your sides and your feet, hip distance apart. That's how people typically practice. I'll be honest, sometimes I'll put one hand on my chest and then another hand on my stomach. Sometimes I'll put my hands on my legs or my inner thighs, depending on how I'm laying. I feel like you just really want to be comfortable. It is helpful to be on your back so that you don't fall asleep. You really don't want to have your limbs crossed, because you do want to have your body open to free circulation of blood flow as well as energy. But you want to get into a very relaxed and supported position. Some people even use props. Some people have like bolsters and yoga blocks that they will set up in different ways so that they can lay back and recline comfortably and kind of rest and relax their body. You may also want to have like 1 or 2 pillows handy. You could have a pillow under your head and another pillow under your knees if you're laying on your yoga mat, to kind of support your body and make you a bit more comfortable. You can also have a light blanket. Sometimes I'll fold the blanket up and place it on the yoga mat so that I can lay on top of the blanket for an extra layer of comfort. Sometimes you may want to put the blanket over the top of you so that you can be just a little bit more warm in whatever room. Your fourth step is going to be your sankalpa. So typically there's going to be a part of your nidra session where you have what is called a sankalpa, or this could be referred to as a positive statement of intention. It most likely will begin with I am, but it does not have to begin with I am. But it's going to be a short, concise, positive statement of intention. Perhaps this is something that you want to cultivate in your life, or cultivate in yourself, or manifest in your life experience. My current sankalpa, just to give you an example, is I am nourished, nurtured, and supported by seen and unseen forces. Yours could be a lot shorter. Yours could be sort of like your positive affirmation that you're using. But you want to come up with your own sankalpa. If you don't have one, I would suggest watching the video 6 Steps to Creating a Personal Intention Statement, and I will leave it right here, a personal self-care intention statement. I'll leave it right here, and you can use the exercise in that video to come up with a sankalpa. But you typically are going to work with one over an extended period of time until you have that experience manifest in your life, and then you can switch to another sankalpa. During this phase, you're going to repeat the sankalpa in your mind 3 times, and then we will begin, or you'll begin the process of rotation of consciousness. Rotation of consciousness is the part of the process that can also be referred to as pratyahara. And pratyahara means withdrawing the senses, and an image that's often used is a turtle withdrawing its limbs into its shell. So we're withdrawing our senses from the external world and beginning to turn internally. So you're going to be losing, your senses. This is it. Basically, you're going to be falling asleep, but you don't want to lose consciousness. So I kind of think about this as meditation involves relaxation. It's a type of focused relaxation. So it's not the type of relaxation that you experience, let's say, on Thanksgiving after you've eaten a heavy meal. You say, oh, I'm going to go lay down on the couch so I can relax. Typically, this type of relaxation, you understand that this involves losing consciousness. Well, the relaxation that we're talking about, we want to, in a way, be gaining consciousness if we're using this analogy. You may be more aware than you would typically be once you get to a certain level of practice, but you're not losing consciousness. You're not falling asleep. You're right there present with what is going on. So the process of rotation of consciousness, it can be done many different ways, but typically you're going to find that you're going to be guided to visualize or just really experience various parts of your body. When I talk about this in terms of shamatha or mindfulness meditation, I always remind individuals that mindfulness meditation involves an object of attention in order to hold the focus. So there's something specific that you're focusing on, and as long as you're focused on this one thing, then you're not focusing on all of the other things that could possibly be going on, in the world around you, outside of the room, other experiences. So by you focusing on this one thing, you're practicing pratyahara. You're withdrawing your senses from the external world. You're letting all of that go, and you're bringing yourself into this intentional state of focused relaxation. So you will be guided through basically all of the points in the body, and sometimes there will be a visualization associated with it, but many times if there's not, I would suggest even trying not to visualize, but to just have the experience of whatever part of the body in the sense of somatic sensation, of just physical sensation, because this is limiting the mind even more. This is shutting things down even more. So once again, we're trying to go from this very active brainwave state all the way down to the base level. Now, by this point, you're very relaxed. So after you've completed your rotation of consciousness, you could possibly go into some sort of visualization. This could be a light visualization. So it could just be of light. It could be of perhaps a rapid sequence of images, mixed with, sometimes they will be mixed with sensation. So images doesn't always mean something visual. It could be something auditory, but this is going to be a practice to develop your concentration. After that practice of concentration, you may rest. There may be some nidras that will have you rest in the upper area of your body, kind of in a focused way. They may introduce the chakras at this point. They may have you rest in awareness at a certain chakra, perhaps at the third eye. You will possibly go into a state of dissolution. So just allowing yourself to relax even more and enter a place that could be referred to as Turiya, the fourth state, a state kind of outside of time, but you're basically just resting in the deepest place of relaxation possible for your mind. And then once that is over, at the appropriate time, maybe you are practicing with a guided yoga nidra, so that time will be pre-planned for you. But you will bring yourself out of that state slowly, waking yourself up. So you'll have woken yourself up a little bit, kind of maybe done the process of dissolution that you did at the beginning, but backwards. It may be first paying attention to the sounds that you hear around you, then paying attention to your breath and the way that your body feels on the floor. So you're bringing this element of coming back into your body. You may then go ahead and repeat your sankalpa again, and then bring some physical movement into your body and fully wake yourself up. And a good thing to do after this entire experience is some journaling. Now, there are a lot of benefits to the practice of Yoga Nidra or psychic sleep or yogic sleep, whatever you want to refer to it as. You may also hear this practice referred to as non-sleep deep rest in the Western academic circles. So even here on YouTube, you can search for guided non-sleep deep rest videos and programs. But because specifically of the sankalpa, I believe this practice can be used for many, many different things. There is a book called The Art of Yoga Nidra by Dr. Kamini Desai, and I believe she's a psychiatrist. But she explores Yoga Nidra, but explores it in a way that shows how it's backed by scientific evidence from Western culture that supports the use of Yoga Nidra to help people transform their lives in a variety of major ways, whether they've had traumas or illnesses, or people go to therapy and go to psychiatry for a variety of reasons, but she uses Yoga Nidra in her practice with all of her patients, whether they have depression and anxiety, or maybe they have some type of addiction. She helps them using Yoga Nidra, and she explores it in depth in this book. So if you're really, really interested in it, I would advise that one. Yoga Nidra also soothes and calms the nervous system. Once again, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. And this is important because when you're resting, you're basically resting your body and your mind in this state. And most people today live their life in a low level of stress. Like there's a low level of stress that's always present in our lives, instead of being able to completely relax. This is very important because it can help your body combat that low level constant stress that's going on all the time. And if you are interested in inducing other states of consciousness or exploring other states of consciousness, even things like lucid dreaming and dream work, once again, like I talk about here on Higher Alignment, then this practice is very useful. It can be used to help you with lucid dreaming, in particular in the wild practice, wake-induced lucid dreaming. you can begin to practice this method if that technique is interesting to you. If you are interested in this type of mystical element to Yoga Nidra or psychic sleep, go ahead and leave me a comment below, and I will make an entirely separate video completely dedicated to that portion of the practice. There are a lot of interesting things in the ancient texts and that refer to this practice and where it came from and other possible associated meanings to this technique, but I can save that for you. If you wish to actually experience Yoga Nidra or the Yoga Nidra state, then I have two videos that I would suggest for you. The first one is going to be the 20-minute daily Yoga Nidra session that I have here on the Higher Alignment YouTube channel, and I'll go ahead and place the link to that above. And then a second one that's a little bit longer is going to be the Resting in Abundance Yoga Nidra session. And that was a little bit longer. It has more of the elements that we talked about here. The other one has a few of those elements taken out, and then the practice is condensed. You may also want to consider joining Sacred Sunday Space or the Dark Arts series, and I'll include the link to both of those in the description box below. But those are my private self-care programs, and we do practice Yoga Nidra as a part of that series. You can definitely come and join and participate. It's very flexible. It happens 2 to 4 times a month, depending on whatever level you'd like to practice. We do that through Zoom, and it's about an hour and 15 minutes. So take a look in the description box below if you'd like to. And if you have enjoyed this content and this information, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you can get notifications on all future videos. And if you do have questions, leave those in the comment section below. I did intend this to be a short video. It was longer than I expected, but still there are a lot of things about Yoga Nidra or the practice of psychic sleep that I would never be able to get to in just one video. So if you do have questions, just leave those below.